So if we're not taught early how to articulate, it's not bragging. I know that I'm very intelligent. I know that I'm very creative. I know that I am a visionary executive. So I don't feel the need to humble myself when I'm talking about what my skill set is. If you're hiring me, you know why you're hiring me. It's not for any of my past. It's none of your business.
Hey, BA fam, what's your girl, MANDI Money, and welcome to today's Washday Woosah episode. So this is the series I've been doing. Maybe y'all have clocked it. Maybe this is a random Thursday and you just really wanted to listen to this, but it's intentional. I have been coming out every Sunday with an in-depth one-on-one interview with an incredible woman of color who is either doing incredible work that they're excited to talk about, has a message to share with BA fam. But the ultimate goal of the Washday Woosah is, I know that Sundays we want them to be, or I'm hoping to help create more space for this with this podcast, but we want them to be a time where we are pouring into ourselves, refilling our cups a little bit before we go into the week ahead. So whether you are doing your wash and go, you're doing your deep conditioner, walking around the house with your hairnet on, or sometimes I lose it and I have to use saran wrap, don't judge me, or a grocery bag, whatever will help, to get the penetration of the moisture into the curls. We got to do what we got to do. Whether you are deep cleaning or honestly just laying around and just being beautiful and resting and just taking a nap, whatever that may be. I'm hoping that these episodes can be a part of that routine, leave you feeling a little bit more invigorated and excited and motivated to go into the week ahead. There is so much up against us at all times. This is not the time where we're going to steep in that negativity. Well, nothing on Brown Ambition's we're not going to stew in that negativity so much, but we can acknowledge the strife. We can acknowledge the struggle. We can acknowledge what happened in the week past, and maybe it wore us down, but we have to keep moving forward. What other choice do we have? And so I just hope with these Washday Woosahs episodes that y'all have a little bit of pep in your step, a little bit more fuel in the tank to tackle whatever is coming your way the week ahead. Today's conversation is really special. I had the pleasure to chat with Cristina Mancini, the CEO of Black Girls Code, a couple of months ago, maybe a couple months ago, yeah. And I was really blown away by her depth, the level of care that she puts into her work, and also her ability to still access joy through the work that she's doing. She's someone who's had a really incredible storied career. She got her start in media, working for juggernauts like Warner Brothers, 21st Century Fox, and then she transitioned into the world of tech. She was at Salesforce for many years, rising through the ranks, becoming a senior executive in the C-suite. And then she took on this role about a year ago, maybe going on 2 years now, to become the CEO of a nonprofit called Black Girls Code. They have a simple but bold goal to get 1 million Black girls into tech by the year 2040. So we're going to talk about what does success for Black Girls Code look like? How are they going to know when they've reached it? We're going to talk about the mission. We're going to talk about how they are expanding outside of just young women and girls into us, into the mid-career professionals, the senior executives, senior directors, the wannabe directors, the managers, the mid-level workers, people like you, BA fam, who have been working in your careers for a decade, maybe 2 decades, even 3, and are either feeling stuck or feeling like, what else could I be doing? What else should I be striving for? Could potentially there be a path for me in tech? Or if I'm in tech, how can I create longevity in my career? How can I start to expand and get outside of my lane a little bit? We'll talk about that in this conversation. Christina is going to talk about as an introvert, and she and I are very similar. It's funny because we could be friends, but I doubt we'd ever talk because we would just be like always recharging, which is fine. But she's talking about how she's navigated her career as a deep, deep introvert and how she has built processes, strategies, tools to overcome that and still find success. How she looks at the concept of mentorship. She's a CEO of a nonprofit. She used to be a higher up in Salesforce, so she gets inundated and has been with requests for mentorship. So she talks about her approach to it and how she wants to make space for always lifting up more women of color to find career paths and to show up in these rooms where sadly she herself was the first few only different constantly throughout her career. But she talks about her approach to it, how she sets boundaries, and how we, as someone who may look to someone like Cristina and look to them for support or advice through our careers, how we can engage with, these people in our lives instead of looking to them for just pure mentorship, a different way we can look at that relationship, and how we can stop judging ourselves so harshly when it comes to trying to engage with someone with the hope that they might be able to lead us to our next opportunity. So we'll talk about that. Oh my goodness. We talk about MANDI Moneymakers and some of the challenges I know my coaching clients have had in navigating their careers in tech. So we're going to have a fun, juicy conversation. If you want to learn more about Black Girls Code, head on down to the show notes right now. You can find out about all their incredible programming, their summer camps. They're doing family pop-ups in Inglewood, California. So if you're on the West Coast, you can check those out. Incredible work. Make sure you follow them on social media. I'm going to be following if I don't already, because as I was speaking to Cristina, I'm just reminded how with everything happening in the world and all the challenges we're all coming up against in our careers, the microaggressions, the lack of recognition, feeling stuck, feeling like I want to pivot, but I don't know where to start. Sometimes looking at what the babies are doing and just like getting out of our own mess for a minute and just looking at a 7-year-old, a 17-year-old, seeing what a 20-year-old is doing and how they are excited about their career paths and the little activities and the problem solving that they're doing and just the work that BGC has done to train these girls and to give them the tools that they need to succeed. If we can just like get out of our own drama and just look at what they're doing, put ourselves in their shoes for a while, I find it to be really invigorating, really exciting. It inspires, right? And I think at the end of the day, if you're feeling stuck, stale, demotivated, unmotivated in your career path, getting back in touch with the youths can actually be the answer sometimes. A little meditation and getting out of our own mess and just looking at what the youth have going on and what kind of problems they have and what kind of solutions they're finding so that we can find some inspiration for ourselves. All right, BA fam, I am going to get into the interview now. I hope y'all enjoy it. I hope you're enjoying these Washday Woosahs. Please leave a comment, leave a review. Let's feed the algorithm beast as we need so Brown Ambition can keep growing. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the podcasting space has never been more saturated, more competitive. And part of me just kind of feels like it's going over my head a little bit in the best way possible because we have such a thriving, strong, loyal community. Thanks to y'all. Thanks to everyone who's listened to Brown Ambition, whether you're a day one, 10-year OG, or whether you just discovered us last week. I just really thank you for sharing your time with us, for spending some time with me, for letting us in, letting some of this light shine on y'all. I can't say thank you enough. So thank you so much, BA fam. I am again MANDI Money. I'm going to get out of y'all's way, now get out of my own way, and enjoy this conversation with Cristina Mancini from Black Girls Code. All right, VA fam, welcome back. I'm so excited to introduce you to this week's guest on Washday Woosah. We have Cristina Mancini. She is the CEO of Black Girls Code. Welcome, Cristina.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a huge fan of your podcast.
Oh, thank you. I'm a huge fan of you. I love that we've gotten to chat a little bit before. The last time we spoke, you were jet setting. I think you had just left Essence Fest. Were you there?
No.
Did I make that up in my head?
I did not go to Essence Fest. I was at Jobs for the Future also in New Orleans.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's where I was coming from.
It should be illegal to have conferences in New Orleans in July. Truly.
It was very hot, but it was a great conference.
That's good. Well, you're relatively new-ish in this role. You have this incredible career trajectory, and I want to start there. Can you tell BA fam a little bit about your decision to leave corporate? You were a big baddie in tech at Salesforce, and now you're running a nonprofit. So talk to us a little bit about that decision and what brought you to Black Girls Code.
Absolutely. I did have a wonderful career. I started my career in media and television. I transitioned into technology. I was at summer camp last week in Atlanta, and Representative Kim Schofield was speaking to our girls, and one of the girls asked her, why did she get into politics? And she said she wanted to make sure that people without a voice had a voice. And I think that really sums up why I wanted to get into technology. I did not come up through the traditional educator channels for this line of work. I came through corporate, and I was in the rooms that I want to get our participants into. And so I come with that intention. Like, what are the things I wish I knew then that I know now? And what are the things that I was trying to solve for at one company that I can now solve for at scale? And so that's why I'm here. I want to inspire, educate, and launch these girls into these big jobs at tech so that they can save us all. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that that is why you started this podcast,
It's pretty similar. Yeah. I
right?
mean, also, I was bored.
I mean,
I
that's
was bored. No, not bored as in like I have nothing to do. Bored as in surrounded by people who didn't look like me every day. And I was also in media covering
yes.
personal finance. And I wanted to feel the energy, giddiness, the excitement. There wasn't a lot of that excitement in like doing it for a cause. Maybe I was a little bit of a bleeding heart at the time. And I met my co-host at the time, Tiffany, at a conference, and we were both so equally passionate about doing this work and really closing the racial wealth gap and talking to women of color. And I just didn't get that where I was working at Yahoo Finance at the time. So for me, this was an outlet. It was an outlet and a place to take all my enthusiasm. And at the same time, now it's been 10 years and I have chosen to keep doing it again and again. I've left corporate. I left corporate back in 2021. And definitely my why now is because I was going to ask while you were speaking, I was going to ask you. Sometimes there's a bit of a pressure on women of color when we reach these high rankings in corporate America, like stay there, we need you, representation, da da da. But at the same time, and I did feel that way because when I was in corporate, I wasn't as senior level as you were, but I was making hiring decisions. I hired a team of 40, and I really wanted to make sure that they were diverse and that little bit of power and responsibility. I took it very seriously, and it was a privilege and some power. That being said, I wanted to get your take on that and your answer to anyone who may say, "Oh, we need you in corporate."
I think that we need a whole bunch of us in corporate.
Right?
And I was doing this work off the side of my desk for many years. I launched multiple programs even when I was in film. And then also when I was at Salesforce, and at Salesforce I launched our Make Change series, our Leading Through Change series, trying to motivate people to think different about using their platform to affect change. And instead of just going to work every day and thinking like, oh, I got to tick all these boxes on my playbook, like what if you thought about how you could use the space and influence you have to affect change? And so there's this incredible pressure as you rise through the ranks in corporate, when you get to the spaces where you are in fact the only one to create space for others, and it is the right type of pressure. But for me, I couldn't get enough people at the table. I wanted to actually encourage us to start building our own tables. And so, yes, I suffered that pressure. It's the pressure of wanting to mentor and sponsor everybody while you still have your regular day job. And I think that's a really interesting conversation in itself around thinking through what is mentorship versus sponsorship. Everybody wants mentorship, but it presents itself in different ways. For me, I'm not super chatty. I'm a go straight to action items, and so I think I am a better sponsor. But in order to be a good sponsor and find the right sponsors, you need to really think about what your value proposition is, and start thinking about who's your mentor that you have coffee with and you want to have small talk with, and who's your sponsor who's going to be in the room. I used to say, fighting for you in rooms where you're not, and now where we are right now, which is an epidemic of no Black women in tech, I would say it is fighting to make sure that you yourself are in the room to present your own projects so that you can accelerate your career.
Okay, you said so much there. I have a lot of respect for anyone who's clear on what they're able to offer. I run a group coaching community called the MANDI Money Makers, and one of my makers last week, she's incredible at networking, and she'll send an email, but she'll meet up with people in person and then keep the relationship going via email. And she had said how someone that she was reaching out to or hoping to get some advice on breaking into this new field had posted on LinkedIn this post that was like, we're being inundated by mentorship and advice emails and virtual one-on-ones, and we can't do it all. I hope you guys understand. If we don't get back to you, this is why. And part of me as a coach, I'm just like, oh, that's kind of a shame, because you hope people will have the bandwidth. At the same time, I respect a boundary. Right. And I think what you're really vocalizing, what a lot of the few of us that do make it to the top can feel a bit overwhelmed by the pull back to look back and bring others forward while trying to like survive where we are one of the few only difference. Make sure that our asses don't get let go because our margin of error is like super duper razor
You've got
thin.
like this big magnifying glass on you already. You can't make any mistakes. Or so it
Exactly.
feels. Or so it feels.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that and just say that that is completely fair. At the same time, you do offer this window of saying, here's what I can do.
Yes.
I can have a list of baddies that I know I can support, and how does someone get on your sponsorship list? How do we get
That's
sponsored by
funny.
Cristina?
I like how you position that because I feel like I'm curating a massive pipeline of baddies at Black Girls Code. I was at Salesforce. I met incredible leaders there. And when I came over to Black Girls Code, it was October of 2023. And I remember being just blown away by the level of talent that I could see in our participants that were in these programs. And that was the inspiration it was actually part of my interview, was that I wanted to expand the age range. Black Girls Code was already participating in colleges and careers as so much as like how to talk to a recruiter, how to articulate your value proposition, and they're still crushing it and we're still doing it and we're building out how to show up at more college campuses, but I really wanted to introduce more technical training as well. And I wanted to support our communities beyond college, and that was the workforce development expansion. It's funny because as you think about women and women of color in corporate, you should assume that if someone is making it up through the ranks that they're a total baddie because they're going. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that as I say, someone asked me like for some newsletter, like what do I wish people would understand or think about or consider? And it is, this sense of, as we're talking about this, I'm not celebrating resilience. What I would actually love is if when we talk about women of color, that we don't have that adjective celebrated when it's connected with us, right?
So strong.
Wouldn't you rather work at a place where you were just celebrated for being innovative, brilliant, creative, but not resilient? Work shouldn't be a battleground.
Yeah, exactly. I've talked about this before when I'm talking to usually white men in my space, so podcasting. So this could be like someone from my network, for example. So these are corporate spaces. I'm a podcast, so I'll talk to white dudes occasionally, and fortunately not always because I get to do this work. And there often is a point when they try to connect with me on their struggle story. I'm like, I mean, I could tell you, sure, do I have some challenges? But like, I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta. Like, I wasn't starving, I wasn't poor, and like, all that. And but that does get to be a little bit tiresome. That you feel like they want to feel better about themselves for somehow rescuing you, for giving you a chance.
Yeah. No,
You still would
it's
have
like
been in the
actually,
streets if it weren't for
yeah,
this
exactly. I
promotion.
hate that, Mandy. I hate that so much. I hate, especially in tech. It was my biggest like this tiresome trope of rags to riches. I did not come from rags. I had a great background, and that's my story. And if it's not your story, you don't owe anyone that story. I hate. There's this book, What We Build with Power, that I love, and in it he talks about this concept of feeling the need to sell trauma for access. It starts around high school when you're doing your scholarships. Like, do you have a second
Yep.
mom? Like, wait,
Yes, I
that's where
really
it starts.
struggle with my college essay. I was
Right.
like,
I have a good family. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah,
But if you don't, it's still not their business. I was speaking at Princeton, and I had a mom, like we had some Jack and Jill students come and listen, and some of our BGC community, which always makes me happy, came up from the city to listen to me speak. And one of the moms of the high school kids said, well, if I don't talk about her resilience, how does she differentiate herself?
with
So
her
if we're not,
excellence.
so if we're not taught early how to articulate, it's not bragging.
Yeah.
It's not bragging. I know that I'm very intelligent. I know that I'm very creative. I know that I am a visionary executive. So I don't feel the need to humble myself when I'm talking about what my skill set is. If you're hiring me, you know why you're hiring me. It's not for any of my past. It's none of your business, honestly. And so I want our girls to learn that it's none of our business. You choose who deserves to hear your story, not the other way around. I've seen it. I've been at keynotes where the sad story comes on. Someone reaches out to the person who is featured and they're like, Tear, you're so strong. And you get like a little check for your charity, and that's it. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about how do we set you up for success and advance you in your career, or set yourself up so that you can be an entrepreneur and people are buying the things that you create, not your past, not your trauma. That's why I love this work. Going back to like my first camp that I went to, when I saw these little girls coding and making something new move that didn't move before, watch the light bulb turn on, and the joy, that's what we sell. That's what we talk about. That's, in this AI moment where everybody's talking about AI and this great hype cycle, the very things that make us different and differentiate us from machines is our imagination, our creativity, our critical thinking. Those are the things we need to nurture. Those are the things we need to talk about just like everybody else.
Yeah, and I think too, just seeing the girls see each other in that context, like I just
Yes.
imagine I want to go to one of these camps and just
Oh, I'm
be a fly in
inviting
the
you to
wall.
one personally.
I would love
I was
to.
just at the campus in Atlanta, and I just was like, man, being around each other in a safe space. This centers that we're building out in Inglewood, California, are for that. I think what we're missing is a town square. We're missing these third spaces where we can gather and learn together. It gives me infinite joy to participate in it. I spend a lot of time on the road speaking and meeting with partners, but I reserve the right when I feel depleted of energy to go spend time with our learners. It is incredible. And you have to come with me to one of them. I insist.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking about the way that I look at my children. I have two little boys, they're 5 and 2, and I look at them as a reprieve from all the stuff. Like
Yes.
I'll get on the floor, build some Legos, and it's a sort of meditation. It's like it takes you out of this. Even this morning, and I know you must feel this way, or maybe you don't, because you're much more, so much more wisdom and time, in a
I don't know
high.
about that,
But
but
truly, like, I consider you have more experience coping with all the things. But
yes.
some mornings I wake up and it's suffocating how many different feelings and emotions and things to do and like that are tugging you in all these different directions. And my kids are at camp and school right now, so I don't have them. I could build a Lego by myself, I guess. But anyway, I did a little meditation instead. But having the kids there is so nice. And I love that you are staying grounded in the girls, that y'all are working with. So talk to me about, for those who may not know and be a fan, we've heard of Black Girls Code. We know that, you're on this mission to get 1 million girls in tech, Black girls in tech by year 2040. Such a huge, amazing goal. And I know that you're planning new things and expansions, but can you break down what exactly the structure of Black Girls Code is today if someone wants to learn more, get their girls involved, get themselves involved as a parent to help you get to that million
Thank
number?
you. It's a great honor to lead this organization. The organization was founded in 2011. Truly visionary at the time. At the time there was not a lot of these programs out there. And so when I came in 2023, my focus was again to launch. So there's always been this access, inspiration, education, but I wanted to connect it to results. A quick way to get grounded in what we are doing right now is wearebgc.org is our website, and parents can sign their kids up for upcoming programs. We are in the last quarter of 13 summer camps that we've been running all summer. Shout out to my BGC team. They have been literally
Yeah.
nationwide, all over the place, including in Puerto Rico. We have our summer camp coming up right now next week in Los Angeles.
Are these like week long, couple weeks long?
It depends. We've been testing different lengths. So some are 1 week, 2 week, and some are 4 weeks. I think we're landing somewhere around the 2 week is the optimum length. And we stay connected through the year with additional pop-ups and immersion programming that is, again, nationwide. We have ongoing free YouTube programming with a series called Code Along. And the streamer, Kaylani Jules, just won the Young Artist Award for host of a streaming series for our Code Along Junior. So we're really proud of her.
Cool.
That YouTube series has reached over 8 million views, and it is a great introduction to code if you cannot get to one of our live experiences. But we try to get around the nation as much as possible to inspire and engage with as many potential students and bring them into the BGC family. We've also been working really hard to activate our alumni and bring them back into the fold. A lot of them are now teachers' assistants. They've been supporting us in our summer camps and also with our virtual programs. So we have quite a bit going on, but I think we need to do even more. The way that there's this mass exodus of people of color from tech is really worrisome for me. And
Ooh, talk about that. Is there? Has there been? What am I missing?
yes,
Is it an exodus, like we're taking charge, or we're just getting let go?
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
I think it's a combination. I was looking at something, it said 300,000 women have left the workforce just in the past year, if I'm accurate, if I'm speaking correctly.
Women of color. Yes, yes. Right. And largely a lot of that is from tech.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And I worry because the narrative around technology is not very welcoming right now. But that does not mean that we should give up and just accept the fact that we are not in the rooms where these technologies are being developed, legislated, funded, or even marketed. And so that is why these intergenerational hubs that we're standing up are important. When I was speaking at Web Summit Vancouver, someone asked me, what would I do if I was made queen for a day?
Aren't you already? But okay.
My answer was, that's a lot of questions, but my answer really, and I mean this, is that every parent would have the conversation about AI with their child, right? I mean, I have a very senior technologist on my team, and she was like, you know what, after I heard that, I was like, I better talk to my 11-year-old about it. She was like, download ChatGPT, let me show you what it is. He's like, oh, I've had it. And so that's her. But I also think about how many people come up to me when I speak after panels to tell me that they don't use it or in private meetings, and can I teach them? And it makes me think, well, how are they going to have the conversation about this technology with their kids if they don't understand it themselves? And that's why we have this first pop-up in Inglewood, California, is AI for Families. I truly believe that not just coders, it doesn't matter what you do, if you're a board member, if you're an investor, if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you manage technology and are not a technologist yourself, you still need to have a baseline understanding of what these technologies are, what they can do, and where the deficits are, and the harm that occurs from not having us in the rooms where they are developed, so that we can be thoughtful about how we roll them out and how we use them. And we're being thoughtful about how we can bring this training also to teachers, because that is the other person who's talking to kids. Not
Good
trying
point.
to add more to a teacher's already big scope, but we have to think about how we talk about these technologies with our children.
Yeah, well, talk to me a little bit about that as a parent myself. My 5-year-old is he knows a lot already, and I do try to keep tabs on everything that he is consuming. But I'm wondering, what types of conversations are you hoping parents have with children, or educators, or even if you're an auntie who's listening, or a godparent, or whatever? Like, what types of conversations are you hoping that we have, and then what's the ideal outcome from those conversations? Is it raising their awareness, or straight up like teaching them how to use it to accomplish things they may want to accomplish?
First of all, I think, you see conversations about, I think it was in China, where they're starting in at 6, and I worry about that. We have brought on Dr. Avriel Epps. She actually wrote this book.
Oh, wow. Okay, let me get that.
I
A kid's
think,
book, for those who can't see, a kid's book
yes,
about AI bias.
yes, by Dr. Avriel Epps. It is an introduction to how to think about artificial intelligence for children, but I really think it's for anybody, especially in these conversations. One of my worries, and one of the things that we consider when we're building our own curriculum, is how to ensure that our participants, and really any of us, don't lose our ability to continue to develop critical thinking. Because when we turn over all of our questions to a technology platform, like, write me this email. Oh, I'm having a conflict with MANDI. What should I say to her? Hey, what is a great new idea for this thing that I want to do? You are surrendering your ability to think for yourself. Two things pop in my head. One is I already always was challenged with navigation. I'm one of those people that gets lost going around the corner. And now I get lost as soon as I go out my door because my brain is like, exactly. I knew we didn't need this. We've got Google Maps.
Yeah,
Let's,
yeah, yeah.
right. Do you remember any phone numbers anymore? I'm old enough that I still remember phone numbers, but how many phone numbers do you remember? Because your brain at this point was like, yeah, right, just type in the person's name and it comes up. There's a time when you would know like 10, 20 phone numbers.
I remember that.
Okay, good.
Those days. I have 3 phone numbers by heart. My
See?
mom, my husband, and my brother for some reason.
And what are those? Your brain has decided that it doesn't need to use energy to remember these things. So what are we teaching our brain that we don't need to understand anymore? I had a terrifying conversation with a friend of mine when I was in Los Angeles the last time. She sits next to this guy, and their cubicles are next to each other.
Okay.
And he uses it for dating. So
Oh God.
exactly.
Oh.
So it's already
Which is the most obvious use of it for a dude,
how
like
awful. How awful. You're already meeting the representative, but now you're meeting the Chat GPT version
yeah.
of him that he fancies himself to be. What a
Good luck on
disappointment.
your first date, dude. Good luck. Like,
And this is why I do believe
yeah.
that we need some more in-person time together. Like, what is happening to
Yeah.
our social skills? What is
Also, you're in these, you know what it's like to be rising through the ranks in corporate. You're giving presentations, you're speaking live to people, even if it's on Zoom. You're not, maybe you can use these tools to prep or to troubleshoot or whatever, like to prepare yourself, but to be in the room and be able to come up with ideas on the fly and think on your feet, that type of training is invaluable. And the more that we can get, especially young women who are pursuing these paths in career, it's those soft skills. It's like how do you address people? How do you leave an impression? How do you come across, your energy that you're bringing into the room? And how do you trust yourself to go off track, even off of your scripted, whether it's a presentation or a keynote or whatever? Like, how do you trust yourself to go off script? And if people are losing that or never even building that muscle in the first place, I'm scared. I'm very scared.
It's funny when I don't enjoy presenting with slides for this very reason. I once was in a meeting and I was the customer, and I told this executive he was presenting, and I could see there was like 20 more slides to go, and I was already bored. But I asked a question, and he said, "Oh, let me just finish this deck, and then I'll answer your question." And it's like, at that point, I was already doing my email and had checked out.
Yeah.
And over-reliance on what you think is important and now what ChatGPT thinks you should think is important is a surefire way to disconnect yourself from a human experience with someone, which is the whole point of engaging and having a conversation and a presentation, because otherwise, couldn't it just be an email?
Amen, sister friend. Also, people who present decks and you have your whole slide gallery on the side view, like, don't do that.
No,
It's so
it
annoying.
gives me anxiety immediately. I'm like, oh my God.
There's so many.
No, can you fix this one thing for me?
Because you gotta go through. Okay, so so you said you're wanting to expand the audience that y'all are targeting. So traditionally, it's been what, ages 17 to 25 with Black Girls
We
Code?
were 7 to 17,
Oh, 7 to
and then
17. Okay.
expanded to through college. And now with these centers, it's really to 95, right? It
Yeah.
is, we want to solve for the whole community. And I don't want anyone to get left behind in this conversation. We need to think about how we prepare our communities for this technology. You speak to anyone in tech and you will know that we are in an incredible hype cycle around some of these new technologies, and they cannot quite deliver exactly what they're promising. And so
Mm.
just saying it's not worth opting in is the wrong answer. I think coding is still an important skill when you think about how to build critical thinking, problem solving. Some of the issues that I see around, people's favorite vibe coding is
I
that
just learned this expression yesterday.
it's just like just because it can make something quicker doesn't mean that it's more efficient and that it is secure. And we all know that these systems still hallucinate, and they don't tell you when they're hallucinating. They think it's great, and you will find out the hard way when something is wrong. And it worries me when we think about agents that are not built with inclusivity in mind, especially as it relates to healthcare, finance, and education and recruiting. How do you know when
Mm.
someone develops a technology that decides whether you get advanced to the next round of interviews, if you get a higher interest rate, if you deserve to go to the next level of medical care? What is the algorithm that decides based on which inputs? Who's the person inputting it? That's why I say I'm beating a dead horse here. I hate that term, sorry. But if you're on a board, if you're a parent, if you work, if you're a manager, if you work in marketing, anybody, anywhere needs to understand if you're using these technologies, how do they work? I'm not saying that you need to code one or build one or vibe code one, but you should understand like what are the securities. We heard about someone, vibe coding and it erased an entire database. You know,
What? Wait,
yeah.
so for BA family doesn't know vibe coding. I thought it was just your play coding on your own personal computer for fun, like you're trying to
No,
build
people
something.
make things. People
Yeah.
actually make things, but the securities are not in place always. And just
Mm.
because AI can write code does not mean that it is perfect. And that is why I still believe that there needs to be a human that is involved in all of these technologies. I also wanted to, because I was looking at who your audience is,
Ooh, what'd you find?
younger, that
25 to 45.
younger,
Yeah.
who are focused on accelerating their wealth and their careers. And I just wanted to say, it's funny because I was talking to a recruiter yesterday and they were like, I don't know if this person fits in your box for what you're looking for. And, as a habitual line stepper myself, you remember that? Dave Chappelle. Um, as a habitual line stepper myself, I don't believe that in this current climate, staying in your lane is always the best thing to do. I think that you should make it your business, and we're talking about this exact thing right now as it relates to technology, to understand, and I hate to use this term has been overused, but be a lifelong learner,
Mm-hmm.
and understand what is going on around you, not just your specific lane that you're focused on in your career currently. What's the future looking like? What is the opportunity space where you could affect change? Instead of just seeing problems and agreeing that this is problematic, what if you came up with a solution? And especially in this time where so many people need help, it's discouraging to see people say, I can't fix everyone, and therefore not opt in to fix the one person that they can help today.
Say more about that last part. What do you, who fix everyone in what context?
So this is not related to my current work, but I was talking to somebody about current opportunities with what I was doing, and she was talking about she was emotional because she was frustrated because she could not help a kid who needed help. The system wasn't working for her, and she just felt stuck. I was like, well, what can we do to help this girl? We have her name. What can we do to help her? It would be easy to say, like, the system is broken and the parents are challenging and the daughter won't leave because she doesn't want to leave her brother, but like, what can we do to help? It doesn't mean that we don't care about everybody, but it also means that we have a name of somebody. Like, what can you do to help? And I just think that if we did more of that, we would be a better society. I think we are overburdened with, you touched on this, overstimulated with too much bad news. And it's funny because I was talking to somebody the other day, I always get like, write a book, write a book. I'm like, I think a memoir, I don't like looking backwards. I want to look forward to where the opportunity is. If you get stuck in the now, all this bad, you look back and it's like overwhelming. How'd you get here? You're exhausted. There's the depression comes from ruminating on the past, and anxiety is thinking about the future, and the present isn't the present. So when I talk about using your platform for change, I think about not just work. What can you do today to make someone's life better is a worthy exercise for all of us to consider.
Yeah, and I think that's a very, very true statement. I completely agree. I think you're right. It's a practice. It's It's almost a mantra.
Yes. No one feels
Yeah.
bad from helping someone else. That is
Yeah.
a fact.
You got to get to know your neighbors. Like, if you get to know your neighbors, eventually you're going to be in a position where you have someone that you asking to borrow or asking to help, or and vice versa. It's such a, as much as I think we're in this like virtual hellscape, and like it's like we have too much. We're like overly inundated with voices and everything day to day on our devices, but and to the point where people are like, I'm too exhausted to even leave my house. Leave your house.
Leave
Like,
your house,
bump
leave,
up
go
against
for
some
a
people.
walk. Yeah, go for a walk. That's like my dog makes me leave, like go
Yeah.
outside, go for a walk, leave your phone, look around, enjoy nature, use skills that are getting dull, like listen to the birds. I'm not trying to be, Pollyannish. I know that we have like huge problems that we're all solving and that we're all dealing with every day in our life. However, we have a limited amount of time on this earth. Make the most of it. Don't lay in bed doom scrolling and thinking about all the things that you can't solve. Solve the one thing that you can today.
Yeah. Again, my kids help. I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're the cure for everything, but someone that you take care of something that relies on you, it just pulls you out of it. I want to talk about, when you were talking about approaching your career and not staying in your lane,
Yes.
I couldn't agree with you more. As a coach, I'm like a broken record when it comes to like a lot of my time I spend as a coach is working with really accomplished women who just need someone to tell them to talk about themselves and their
Yes.
work, and
Yes.
to get out of their current social circle and to expand it. Can you talk to me over your career how those two things have helped you, if at all? I'm going to assume because you're so successful, you know how to do these two things.
I do.
You do
And
know how to talk about yourself, and you do know how to expand your network.
I
So,
do know how to talk about myself. And if you've heard me speak before, we know that I'm an introvert and I can be a bit socially awkward. That's just who I am.
tell me more. You're my
I cut,
people.
I cut straight to the facts. I still get nervous every time I have to get up and speak. And it is an overthinking of like making sure that whatever I'm saying is like worth people spending their time to listen to me. As someone who came up in media, attention is a huge currency. And so thinking about how to make sure that every conversation is meaningful is exhausting. One of the ways that I started getting better at networking for someone who used to dread the networking piece was look at who's going to the event that you're going to, look them up, and who are they and what do they care about? If they have a LinkedIn, they probably post what they care about. Have they written an article? Do you share a charity, a philanthropy? And ask them about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. People get overwhelmed when you come immediately to them and like, be my mentor. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Or I am Christina. But also think about what the conversation is. I had somebody once who wanted to meet with me and was really aggressively wanting to meet with me. And I finally met with her. And her first question was, what is my sign? And I was like, okay. And then her phone kept going off. And she kept looking at it. It was just like,
Like, what's your astrological sign?
yes.
Oh, well, now I gotta know. What's your sign?
Well, it's a Scorpio. So when I say all these things, it all tracks.
I'm a Leo, so I don't really know much about other people's signs. So
I want to know about your sign.
it's
Because
Leo season, baby. I can talk all day about it. It's really hard being introverted Leo. It's the it's
weird. Yeah, that's
the world
hard.
of contradictions over
The
here.
Scorpio totally makes sense. I'm all dark and stormy and thinking about things a lot. So, yes,
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Use your time because you don't know when you're going to engage with people, what you would ideally like. You're probably not going to walk away with exactly what you want in that first interaction. The win is getting someone to interact with you again. That's the
Yes.
win. And people want to
Put too
have,
much you put too much pressure on that one interaction.
yes, like a man, if you don't, this happened to me when I was 25. When I
Okay.
was 25, I worked at Warner Brothers, I drove to New Line, and I was 25 again, like maybe I've been this way a long time. And Michelle Bell we're still very good friends. She was at the time like VP of Creative Services at New Line, and Warner Brothers had just acquired them. And so I had just been promoted to manager. I drove down to New Line and from the Valley to LA, met with Michelle Bell to tell her that in order to be successful, she needed to hire me. And why? She didn't. I was devastated. I remember I drove home with the window down. I used to have long hair, wind blowing through my hair, and was like, can't believe it. Devastation. And a week later, she did call me. She was like, come back for another meeting, tell me more. She did end up hiring me. We are still really good friends.
There you go.
And she was the first person that I saw that made me understand that you could be yourself. I worked at Warner Brothers, which was very corporate. Michelle at the time wore her hair natural, like wore these giant boots, was loud and herself, and I loved it. And even though I didn't work for her long because I ended up going to work at 20th Century Fox where I spent the bulk of my career, she made a very lasting impression on me. So I do think as I say all the things, the pressure is not just on the person who wants the engagement. It is still on us to be thoughtful about how we show up for the next generation, current generation who's coming through the ranks, to show what the art of the possible, what success looks like. I am not a traditional executive. I don't walk around all buttoned up all the time with saying perfect things and perfect clothes with perfect hair, because I'm a person. And those things do not equal what is brilliant about me, which is my brain.
So if I could just echo some of that back, your example when you were 25 with Michelle Bell is like you were putting a lot of pressure on that one interaction. You were devastated, but clearly you made an impression
I did.
because a week later, and
She
you were
did
just
call me.
yeah.
She did call me. And so, but again, like I did leave her with, so there's two parts to unpack. Thank you for pulling it back. Two parts to unpack, which is devastation, did not get outcome I wanted right away. Added value. She thought about it and was like, maybe some of these things could be great. No, she's not ready to be a director, but come and do this work with me instead. And so I didn't just go and tell her, be my mentor. I didn't want her to be my mentor. I wanted her to hire me because I saw an opportunity, because I worked at Warner Brothers and I knew what they were saying about New Line when they acquired it. So just, again, do your homework, add your value proposition, but like don't be hurt if it doesn't click the first time, and be patient. When you're reaching out to people, people don't always answer right away because work.
Also, just bandwidth. Like you may have a question that I can't answer in the 2 minutes I have between this talk and the next one, or I have to go to the bath. I got to pee real bad, but let's connect, and then I can, more thoughtfully think about this later. And there's a sense of, I've seen women get, when you're quote, you think you're turned down. I had a coaching client tell me up and down. She's like, NVIDIA rejected me. I didn't get through the first round. I got this automated email, and this had become like a story that we talked about for the past 6 weeks. We've been working with each other. Tell me why yesterday she went back to the original email. It wasn't a rejection. It wasn't, it was like, we're passing on your resume to the next step. We'll reach out if we're interested. It wasn't a rejection. I mean, did she hear
He
back?
actually made
No.
it to the next round, which is really successful in these days.
I mean, but
That's really,
yes, it wasn't like one of those automated, but she had told herself, and I'm like, we gotta, it's like it's that negative, like, track that sometimes we can be on. Or if someone doesn't answer your question, like you run into someone in the bathroom at a conference and you're like a huge fan of their work, or you try to chat and they're like, it feels like you're getting rejected or brushed off because they really have to use the bathroom or they're late for something else. And then you start to feel embarrassed or ashamed and like shy about doing it again.
oh
But I'm
God,
like,
please stop attacking. I get attacked a lot in the bathroom. It's really uncomfortable.
wait, really?
I
Because that's one of
promise.
my favorite places to like have
Oh
a
my
little
God,
chit
I'm like,
chat.
just catch me on the outside. Like, just let me
Okay.
use the restroom, wash my hands, and like walk outside and catch my breath. Because
Little
sometimes I go to
woosah.
the restroom just to breathe for a second. Because
Introverts,
with the work
yes.
that you do, to your point, when you talk about these things, you get off a panel, people want to tell you their story. Men, women, everyone wants to tell you their specific story, and I love everybody's story, but
Yeah.
sometimes like I have a lot of pressure on myself before I get up, and then I want to just go and pause for a second to think, and then I can recharge 5 seconds, come out, start all over again, and then go hide in my room later so I can complete like reboot.
Plug
But
yourself in.
exactly,
Or like one of those
exactly.
Roombas.
Oh God, no.
You
Did you
got to
see
go back to
that?
the docking station.
No, they just had a thing that Roombas had some
Were they
breach.
recalled or
They're
something?
taking pictures that aren't authorized. And
Roombas have a camera?
yeah, they do. That's how they know where to go. So, which
Okay,
is
that makes sense.
another great job of the future, by the way, is cybersecurity, girls.
Oh, my husband's in that
Cy-
path. Okay.
Cybersecurity is a great, great track.
Oh my God.
Cybersecurity.
You're
Cyber.
right. Everything is watching us. I
You
don't
need to
actually have a Roomba.
it's
There's no
weird how
point.
we've gotten comfortable with just surrendering our data. Like, you remember back in the day when there was like a breach and everybody was like, oh my God, breach. Now it's like everyone's information has been hacked and people are
Yeah.
like, whatever. I mean, they're talking about like aliens arriving in November and people are like, okay.
Aliens?
Yeah, like just random,
Just like Martians or something.
just whatever, like
Like you
things.
said, we try to stay in the present. Sometimes, like, we
It's
don't want to
just
get in an
whatever interesting.
anxiety,
We'll
the
see
cycle.
if
Oh, Lord. Can
exactly.
I want to be respectful of your time. I work with women, like I said, women of color who they are typically like mid-career 30s, getting into their late 30s, and they are either they're really frustrated sometimes or not feeling like they're making any traction, or they're not getting the opportunities to advance that they want. They're also tired, which I really understand. Tired of being the only, tired of being mistaken for cleanup crew or the intern or whoever else happens to have some melanin and curly hair. And they are wanting a new opportunity, but it's so challenging. I've got clients who have incredible resumes and are sending out applications, even with a referral
Are they
sometimes. And
talking about their achievements anywhere?
great question. So I mean, yes, yeah, I love that. That's what your head went. Okay. They're really frustrated. And it's taken, I don't know, like say it's been a couple of months and you've been making these efforts, but you're not hearing back. Your question is,
Are you talking about your achievements? Like, are you coming through a non-traditional route where you cut through the clutter and someone pays attention to the work that you're doing that is not what everyone else is doing? People do not get promoted anymore for time served. That's gone. So what are you doing that's different that makes you stand out that someone would go like, I want to learn more about what they are doing? I don't know, LinkedIn's weird now, but I still think it's a great platform to talk about things that you care about, your achievements, connect with the people that you care about. I personally have reached out to multiple people to connect because I was curious about what they were talking about. Someone reached out to me the other day, which was pretty funny. It was a cold sales call, but it was, hey, I see you speak Italian, and like, I love speaking Italian. And also, have you thought about this SaaS platform?
that's like people on Brown trying to get on Brown Ambition.
Yeah, like that's
I
not.
guarantee you I'm going to get an email subject line. Loved your interview with Cristina Mancini from Black Girls Code. By the way,
Yes. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, non sequitur.
Yeah.
But think about these platforms. People are on them and paying attention. But if you reach out to someone in a cold call, like, hey, that's interesting, blah, 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 you should have something that they can go look at your profile and go like, oh, yeah, this person is interesting to talk to more.
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna, so basically what you're saying is you endorse all of my career coaching
Oh,
philosophies
perfect.
and you think I'm the best and everyone should listen to me.
As I said, I'm a fan.
It's really hard. No, but it's really challenging. And it doesn't matter how many years I've been doing it. I still run up against this. It's a sense of like, I've done incredible work.
Yes,
And I'm like, and if a tree falls in the forest, does it
100%.
like, does it matter? And then it's like, then you have to go through the same excuses like, oh, LinkedIn, it's like icky, it's cringe, or I don't want to seem boastful. I don't know. Or like, there's a sense of talking about what you're doing like they're almost too good for that. Like,
No, I'm
ah,
I'm still talking about what I'm doing. I'm
Cristina
still
Mancini's on a podcast to talk about what she's doing to get attention and a new eyeballs. So that,
exactly.
like, you're talking about yourself even now. Yes,
You have to
truly.
stay current. You have to stay current. And when I tell my friends, like, update your LinkedIn, it's like, I don't have time to do that. Well,
Okay, then stay stuck.
and the problem is that it's no different than when you're building technology. You know, if there's like more than 3 clicks, someone's probably not going to do it, right? So if it's too hard for me to learn about you, I'm probably not going to do it. People say like, "Well, I sent you an email, I sent you but I'm looking at you on LinkedIn." You can't be mad at the person for like optimizing the time that they have where they are. Like email is a nightmare. Like
Yeah.
inboxes are overflowing, but on LinkedIn, there's like this great opportunity to talk about yourself, what you care about, what you want to do. And I don't see any harm in talking about that. I think it's helpful. It's really helpful. And to that end, you should really think about what you do say when you're on LinkedIn and on Instagram.
And make it on brand and make it on message. And
Correct. Don't be angry. Be thoughtful about what you want to achieve. Be thoughtful about what you want to achieve and focus on that. So this is your sadly necessary other job. But it's worth it if you get to where you want to be instead of just complaining that you haven't made it there.
amen. And if you can master those two things, like putting yourself in rooms where there's people that you can connect with, even if it's, I always give myself a goal to have one conversation because
Yes.
introvert, I'm like, I'm just going to single out one person. That's my person. We're going to have one chat.
Yes.
And then, but if you make that if you focus on putting yourself in rooms where you can bump up against people and chat to people, and then the second piece is actually talk about yourself and share what you're doing and not just talk about yourself, but actually demonstrate the work that you're doing, demonstrate the way that you think about things,
Yes. The critical
demonstrate
thinking.
that, yeah, the critical thinking. Like I'm working with a UX designer right now and I'm so proud of her because she started to blog about other platforms and like she would run up against apps and technology in the wild on vacation at the airport, and she would have a bunch of thoughts about how this could be better or how she loved the way that this worked. And I was like, put that on
What is,
LinkedIn.
will you share her information with me?
Oh, I would love to. She's just, I love her so much. And she's part of a Discord for Black women developers in Tampa, Florida. And she's involved in Figma. And I'm trying to get her to come out to New York
Yes.
to go to this. There's this great conference called Baddies Con. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of it.
And she was like, she was like, I want some advice. I'm submitting my resume for Baddies Con. I'm like looking at the conference and I said, girl, why aren't you on a flight? Like, why are you not? So I think she's going to come out here, but she's,
But A, please connect us because I would love to talk to her myself.
oh
B,
yeah.
that's what we're talking about. And C, being able to, when she's there, have her elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. Okay. What's an ideal elevator pitch for someone like you? If the goal is I'm open to new opportunities, I'd love to be considered for an open role. Should they, I always like to go in if to know who you're talking to and to already have a sense of if there's open roles at their company or whatever.
And also sometimes there's like roles you haven't thought of. Like what you just said, I was like, huh, that's an interesting way of, everybody's different. And for me, the way that people think is really interesting. So people who think different, especially in this time, as we need to think about how to prepare our youth and ourselves for quickly changing times. What she's doing is exactly what I was talking about. She's like looking at things and going like, huh, this makes no sense. This is how it would be better. I love that. That to me, I'm like, I want to know her and maybe we can do something together.
Oh, I love you for that. And see, told you should talk about yourself because then I can talk about you.
Exactly. Exactly. You're like the sponsor times 100.
I go hard for my Mandy money makers. It's just like they call me a loving bully. I lovingly bully them. Because if I'm like, you need to post this on LinkedIn, I'll be like, okay, cool. What date are we saying? And then I'm going to tell Siri to remind me, and I will bother you.
You
Because
need to.
you
You need
need
to.
to.
I have to be reminded. You can get buried in your work and forget to talk about the work. But to your
Yeah.
point, if a tree falls in the forest, and I think it's a muscle that you have to build and start being comfortable talking about yourself. Because you're not bragging about yourself, you're talking about the work that you're doing. I had an executive when I was at Salesforce and I wanted to give her a bigger role. She said, I don't know. Do you think I'm ready for that? I don't know. I said, you tell me.
Well, I did until you asked me if I thought you were ready.
I asked her the next question and I said, if you were a man, would you have asked me that question? She thought about it and she was like, no, I'm ready to take it. And she was excellent. And she continues to thrive. What we're talking a little bit about is imposter syndrome. And I talk about this a lot. I don't like to give credence to imposter syndrome. I don't like to give energy to it because it's a fake voice in your head that does not exist. It's not a real person. It's not based on anything real that tells you to not expend any energy trying something new because you're just going to get your feelings hurt. Turn that off. Don't listen to it. Talk about yourself. Feel comfortable. I'm not saying brag about yourself. I'm saying talk about your achievements. You did it. You deserve the flowers.
You absolutely do. And it also to be a what did you call it? A forever learner or
Yes,
a lifetime
like
learner.
long learner.
Say things without fear of critique. Look at critique or any additional because people are afraid that people are going to point out a mistake or that they're going to criticize what they've done. Like if you just go into this, if you open up your mind and your heart to people may have feedback and you post with the intention of getting that feedback. That's engagement. That's
That's
great for
huge.
the algorithm,
That
and it's good for you.
exactly, 100%. And I have a lot of ideas, and they are not all great ideas. And sometimes the best ideas come from a bad idea, but you need to be open to feedback. So when people have ideas and they've curated them for so long and don't want to release them into the wild, they are like very protective of it.
Yeah.
Like get into the habit of thinking about things, sharing your thoughts, getting feedback, and evolving.
Fail
I could talk to you
fast.
forever. No wonder. I knew I was going to enjoy talking to you, Mandy.
Oh yeah. Anytime I see all 30, how many teeth do we have? I see all your teeth. That's all I want to see. That's all I want to see. That's what we're
I'm
here to
very
do.
happy. This has been a great conversation.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with me and for sharing with BA Fam, Cristina Mancini from Black Girls Code. Everyone, we will post the show in the show notes. You'll have a link to, why do I keep wanting to say BCG? BGC, the website,
Yes.
how you can get involved.
And
When
follow
is
our
this?
social channels too, so you can see what
All
the
your
girls are
social.
up to. Black Girls Code, we're on TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn at Chris B. Mancini. I just get involved, opt in,
Yeah, and
be
get
inspired.
excited. Check out what the youths are doing to inspire you. I love that you're expanding it to more to women, more advanced in their careers, but also just like and at whatever point you are in your career, like check out what the kids are doing, give them some advice. It'll renew your energy, give you a little bit of joy, and just whatever way you can support the work that Black Girls Code is doing. And
Thank
Christina,
you.
again, thank you very much. Brown Ambition. I will see y'all next time. Take care. All right, VA fam, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to rate the podcast, leave us a review. Let's feed the algorithm beast. All right, just do what we got to do to make sure that Brown Ambition can still continue to grow and find even more ears that need to find us. Again, I'm your host, Mandy Woodruff Santos, aka Mandy Money. I want to thank my editor, Courtney D, for holding it down. I want to thank our summer intern, Gabrielle Barnett, for working so hard this summer and helping with those edits, helping book guests, helping publish video for our YouTube channel. Thank you again, Gabrielle. Good luck in your fall semester. I'm taking applications now for our fall intern. If you want to help out editing, if you want to learn how to produce content for social media on YouTube, go ahead and head to my LinkedIn page. I have the job posting there for the Brown Ambition producer intern for fall 2025. tell a friend to tell a friend. And while I'm at it, don't forget to join our Patreon. You can join for free, but when you do, you'll get access to additional bonus content from the show. If you become a paid member, you can actually get a free access to become a virtual backstage audience member for our live brown table recordings. But anyone, even if you join on the free plan, you also get access to the Brown Ambition book club. I am in the middle of reading our August book club pick, The Ghost of Gwendolyn Montgomery, and ooh, she a spicy one. She's a spicy, I don't know what to say. I'm feeling a little hot under the collar just thinking about it, but really good, really intriguing book to read, and I can't wait to discuss it with y'all. But I can't discuss it unless you're in the book club. So please go to our Patreon, patreon.com/brownambition. I also have the link in the show notes so you can join. And until next time, bye BA fam.